a continuation of the series on drawing portfolios, sustained investigation examples. So this is the third video. If you have not watched the other two videos, please go back and watch those because I explain a little bit more in depth what they are looking for in the portfolio. We're going to go pretty quickly into the examples here. So just as a review, you have to turn in 15 images. They should be related to each other. They should go into an investigation of a specific visual idea. It is not projects that you've done in class from an assignment from your teacher. This is self-directed. It is not a collection of random pieces of art. You should explore something that is personal to you as deep and intensively as possible. You can work in any medium, any style, and you can address any two-dimensional design or mark-making issues. Your work should grow and change throughout the semester, so while staying on topic, maybe getting a little bit better or a little bit more in depth. And you should also include and document visual evidence of your thinking, method of working, and development over time. So we're going to look at a couple different portfolios. So this portfolio is crowds of people. This is the first slide, and this is the second slide. So for some reason on the screen for me, things look a little bit pixelated. So just know that that pixelation is not actually part of the art. The art is actually very clear and beautiful, but you can see their compositions. You can kind of get an idea of their skill level, even though the images look slightly pixelated to me right now. Maybe they don't on your end. So this portfolio right here scored a 6 in 2009. And remember that 6 is a perfect score. So at this point, I've shown you a couple different perfect score portfolios just to give you that idea. All right, so we're going to get into the rationale for the score. The portfolio presents a compelling visual study of an everyday situation, with the artist placing herself somewhere within the image. The work reflects a mature exploration of subject matter and watercolor technique. Versatility of the color palette is notable, as seen in images 1 and 11. Atmospheric perspective effects are emphasized in image 6, while the drama of light and shade is most evident in images 7, 10, and 12. Deliberate spatial tension is created through the variety of approaches to the subject matter, including the overlap of form in image 2 and the scale of figures in images 3, 4, and 8. The concentration is explored in a myriad of ways and is inventive and original. So that is a good example of how a simple idea can be done extremely well in an AP portfolio. Let's read the student's written work. So the central idea of my concentration is crowds of people. I wanted to explore the ways that being in a crowd made me feel. Because of this, I did a series of watercolor paintings and painted myself into each one. I also tried to give each piece an overriding emotion. In my work, I wanted to challenge myself to convey an abstract emotion in a realistic piece of art. I experimented with different styles and techniques of painting to create a distinct mood in each picture. For example, in my 6th piece, I used high contrast and bright colors, and a lot of white, which gave a cheerful and upbeat feel to the painting. In my 11th painting, I used subtle muted colors and soft lines to encourage a quiet and detached atmosphere. I also included a depiction of myself in each piece. In most of my pictures, I made myself very small, but as my work evolved and I became more confident in my ability, I ended up painting myself bigger so that my later pieces are more of self-portraits. All right, this next concentration's theme is abstract nature. Here are the first 6 images, and here are the next images. This portfolio made a score of 3 in 2010, so a little bit more recent than some of the other portfolios that I've shown you. Let's talk about the rationale for why this concentration made a 3. The reader said the connection between the concentration topic and the work presented is evident. There is moderate decision making and emerging growth seen in images 9 and 11, although the detail images in 10 and 12 seem unnecessary. Though uneven, the work demonstrates emerging technical skills. The line variation seen throughout the work adds playfulness to the student's voice. Overall, the work exhibits an emerging level of accomplishment. So there's some key things that are different here. We see the word emerging, which means like they're starting to become good at art, but it is not quite there yet. And then we see the word moderate. So the decision-making skills that the student had are pretty moderate. Now, if you look, some of these compositions are stronger than others. For example, the one in the top left is kind of awkward, whereas the purple piece in the middle is actually quite nice. I do agree with the reader in that the detail images seem unnecessary. It seems like the student just didn't have enough pieces and they included details to fill those slots. So little tricks like that really isn't going to work for AP because they will score your work accordingly. So keep that in mind and make sure that you are making the right choices all throughout the semester to get enough pieces. So let's read what the student wrote about their own work. My concentration is abstracted nature studies. I derived inspiration from artist Bobbi Meler in a visit I made to Longwood Gardens, Pennsylvania. I achieved this through exploration of techniques in watercolor and ink. As my portfolio begins, I was focused on color and unity. Through the portfolio, I took greater risks and explored the media further by experimenting with new techniques. As the portfolio progresses, I began focusing on the element of texture and the principles of repetition and unity. Many pieces have the same background detail, as demonstrated in image 7. This detail gives the piece a whimsical, fantasy feel while providing unity through the portfolio. The use of sumi ink in both the foreground and the background, as in image 4, also creates unity through the portfolio. Texture was created through various techniques with the watercolor, such as salt, alcohol, and imprinting, which is very dominant in images 9 and 11. So you can tell that this student was very focused on their media and processes. And so even though I feel like some of the compositions of the pieces are awkward and maybe needed a little bit of work, overall, the student did part of what they were asked to do. That is the end of this video. And if you will tune into the next video to see the last few portfolios, I will see you next time.